Hi, and welcome to Domain 3 of our Manufacturing Guide to CMMC 2.0. Today, Domain 3, Audit and Accountability. Here's the simplest way to understand why audit and accountability exist. If something happens, you should be able to explain what happened calmly and accurately. That's it. Audit and accountability aren't about passing a test or surveillance or catching people doing something wrong. They exist so that after the fact, you can answer reasonable questions with confidence. What happened? When did it happen? Who was involved? What systems were affected? And what do we do about it? If you think about how manufacturing already works, this should feel familiar. When a machine goes down, you don't panic, you investigate. You look at logs, you look at maintenance records, you identify the root cause, and you adjust the process so it doesn't happen again. If you're curious about root cause analysis, we encourage you to explore the rule of 5 whys. Audit and accountability apply the same thinking to your information systems. Not to punish, not to blame, but to create visibility, traceability, and repeatable outcomes. That's the frame we're going to use for the rest of this domain. Let's get clear about what this domain actually governs. Audit and accountability is about recording meaningful activity, reviewing it appropriately, and being able to explain outcomes when something goes wrong. It focuses on questions like, were important actions logged? Can those records be reviewed when needed? Is responsibility clearly assigned? Can we reconstruct events without guessing? What isn't the domain? It's not constant monitoring of employees, it's not keystroke logging, it's definitely not spying, and it's not paperwork created just to satisfy some assessor. It's definitely not about watching everything all of the time. The intent here is proportionality. You log activity that matters, you review logs that are relevant, and you assign accountability where it makes sense. The goal is operational clarity, not bureaucracy. You may be noticing that as a theme here. Before we talk about expectations or improvements, let's slow down and ask a few honest questions. There are no right or wrong answers just yet. These questions are just meant to get a surface reality. First, if something unusual happened in our systems last month, could we trace what actions occurred afterwards, or would we be simply guessing? Second, do we collect logs that someone actually looks at, or do they exist mainly because we believe we're supposed to have them? Third, if an issue came up, is it clear who owns reviewing it, responding to it, and documenting what happened? Fourth, could we reconstruct an incident well enough to explain it to the leadership, a customer, or an assessor calmly and clearly? Fifth, does our oversight process work during normal operations, or does it rely on specific individuals going above and beyond to hold things together? These questions don't judge maturity, they simply reveal it. Now, when assessors look at audit and accountability, they're generally trying to confirm a few core things. First, that logging is aligned to risk. They're not expecting everything to be logged. They're expecting important actions to be recorded. Things like access changes, administrative activity, and security-relevant events. Second, that accountability matches job roles. They're not looking for a single superhero who does everything. They want to see that the responsibility is assigned logically and that people know what they're accountable for. Third, that records support explanation. So what that really means is that logs exist, they're retained appropriately, and they can be used to understand what actually happened. Audit evidence doesn't need to be complicated. It might look like log samples, review notes, incident summaries, document follow-up actions. The emphasis here is on explainability, not volume. What we see in some common operational realities is that most organizations, they're not failing this domain because they don't care. They struggle because the growth is happening faster than the structure can be created behind it. So what we commonly see looks like this. Logs are being collected, but there's no one there to review them regularly. Accountability exists, but it's assumed rather than defined. And an incident may have occurred, but reconstructing that full story is difficult. These aren't signs of negligence. They're signs that the organization prioritizes uptime, delivery, and customer commitments, which is exactly what manufacturers should be doing. Audit and accountability often lag behind because if nothing feels broken, why would you need the answers? And that's normal. A mature audit and accountability posture should feel surprisingly calm. During reviews, there's confidence, not scrambling. The ownership is all very clear, the questions are getting answered directly, and logs aren't just stored, they're actually useful. They help explain decisions. They support the improvement of the environment. And when something goes wrong, the organization can say, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is what we changed. That clarity is the real outcome of this domain. So let's talk practical implementation without tools, branding, or over-engineering. From a procedure standpoint, we want to define what gets logged and why. We want to set a reasonable review cadence, and we want to document escalation paths for meaningful findings. From a people standpoint, we want to assign accountability clearly. One group reviews, another responds. Leadership maintains oversight. From a technology standpoint, we want to ensure systems can record relevant activity, ensure logs are protected from tampering, and ensure retention supports the investigator's needs. From an evidence standpoint, we want to keep examples of logs, maintain review records, and document incidents and lessons learned. None of this needs to be complex. It just needs to be consistent. Audit and accountability don't stand alone. They reinforce every other domain: access control, incident response, awareness, and beyond. In our ebook, we walk through how visibility and accountability connect those domains into a coherent program, not just some checklist. It's meant to help organizations see how these pieces support each other operationally. So go ahead and click the link below. Audit and accountability are not about control. Like the rest of the domains, they're about clarity and evidence gathering. They help organizations learn from what happens, improve systems intentionally, and operate with confidence instead of guesswork. When done well, this domain doesn't slow manufacturing down. It stabilizes it. And that stability is the real measure of success. So domain 3 doesn't have to be overwhelming. Walk back through this video, see what the questions are, document them, and see where you currently stand. We're always a click or a call away if you need us. Thanks.